Heidi-ho neighbors, RadoGoji here. Just got back home from MAGFest, so I figure I may as well go ahead and just do the basically kind of a compilation of the last 2 days events. Or rather, I do want to kind of start with the events that transpired after the last blog entry on Friday. Friday? Friday. Yes, Friday. I'm used to these conventions being like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, not starting on a Thursday. MagFest last year was started on a Friday and went through to a Monday. Um, but uh, but yeah, not too long after I attempted to post the vlog, because for whatever reason that particular video was taking longer, much longer than expected to upload. I mean, even with the room's Wi-Fi, it normally doesn't take that long. It took like 3 hours, and even then it wasn't continuously uploading because we had to you know once I left basically the Wi-Fi zone, it would stop uploading. But we went to this Mexican restaurant. Um, because Matt was, more or less, picking out where to go. And there's like, there's a restaurant that we go to that we, went to twice actually, because we went there last night and we went there on Friday night because they're really good. Cadillac Ranch is the place. They have really good burgers and stuff. We went to on Thursday. We went to a similar restaurant. Granite City Brewery. They were pretty good too. But that night we went to a Mexican restaurant, and you could pretty much tell. Sorry, gotta move my arm around here. Um, I could pretty much tell just by looking at the menu. When you look at the menu, it's one of those restaurants. Um, and I don't mean to, blast the restaurant or anything. The food was good, but it's just one of those places where they'd never have anything simple. I mean, I guess the stuff in there was simple enough, and like I said, it did taste good. But I had to look for quite a while at my menu to see if basically the things that had the least amount of things that I didn't like in them. Because for those of you who don't know, I'm a very picky eater. I don't like a lot of vegetables. I mainly eat. There are like maybe like a handful of fruits that I'll eat, a whole handful of vegetables that I'll eat. I'm mostly meat, potatoes, cheese. That's kind of how I am. Bread. So that probably explains why I am out of shape. But I don't really care. I don't really have a reason to. So yeah. But anyway. But it was just one of those things where everything was a little on the pricey side. Everything had like ingredients upon ingredients, and a lot of them I didn't even know what they were. They would just like put in Spanish words to make themselves sound fancier. When Mike actually had to use Google Translate for some of the stuff on the menu because he didn't know what he was looking at. We could have probably asked the waitress, but she was all like, "Look at these white people." Even though Mike and Matt are Asian, but look at these non-believers. We're not. I'm not a foodie, basically, and this was very much one of those restaurants that's made for foodies. They always look for the blending of flavors and whatnot. All I want is a quesadilla. I mean, seriously. And it's basically just saying, like, I don't know if it just says, if it was beef or chicken or whatnot. I mean, the thing I got empanadas, which were really good. And they had chicken and chorizo in them. And like a chili sauce that was really, really good. So I'm not knocking them for their food. The food, like I said, while it is one of those situations where I didn't know what I was looking at, call me an ignorant white boy if you want to. That's pretty much the position I was thrown into. But it was good. I'm not going to take off any stars for that. It was good food. I don't know if I would pay $9 for it again because it was just like three little empanadas, but well, maybe. I mean, it was filling enough, but it was one of those situations where I feel like sometimes when if there's something I don't particularly like, if I see something on the appetizer menu, I'll get that. That's kind of what it felt like for me. And they didn't have it split up into appetizers or desserts or anything like that, but it's just one of those things where, you can definitely tell this is one of those places where Guy Fieri is going to go into the kitchen and make a documentary about it and just, scream at the top of his lungs, because I think Guy Fieri is the most obnoxious person on the planet, but that's for another rant. I mean, like, Cadillac Ranch is just, it's a sit-down restaurant, but, it has stuff that, you just say what you want. It's very much America restaurant, but a bacon cheeseburger, barbecue bacon cheeseburger is like one of my favorite things. Cadillac Ranch actually has one called the No Bull Burger, and it's a barbecue cheeseburger. I don't think that there's any bacon on it, but there's pulled pork on it, and onion straws. It's really, really good. But yeah, we went to Cadillac Ranch twice because it's tried and true. We've been there before, and the food's good, so. And it's not too expensive. But yeah, we went to the Mexican restaurant. Was a little bit on the... the food was good, but it was one of those, they're trying to be fancy or, catering to hipsters and foodies and stuff. So it's not that I didn't enjoy it there, but in the end, I'm like, we could have gone somewhere better. But that's just my opinion on that. Afterwards, we went back to the hotel room. I basically stayed in the hotel room for the rest of the time because there really wasn't much going on. I think the Ninja Sex Party concert was going on, and I couldn't remember if it was that day or Saturday, but I ended up. I think it was Friday that the Ninja Sex Party concert was going on. I probably would have gone, but from what I understand, a lot of people couldn't get in anyway because they're that damn popular. Because I like them. Unfortunately, I never would see Danny Sexbang, but a friend of mine did. You know who you are, if you even watch these. I don't even know who on Facebook watches these, but I am super jealous. A friend of mine was there a couple days. I never actually saw him, but he met Ninja Sex Party, like, out in the hallway or something like that. He got a picture of him and Dan and Brian, and I'm not bitter. I'm not jealous. I'm very jealous. Yeah, but I did get to end up playing Vice Schwartz because that's one of the things that I look forward to when I hang out with Andrew and them, because Andrew is one of the only people I know who plays Weiss. We just call it Weiss. I pronounce it Weiss Schwarz because they use the German words for white and black, but you can just say Weiss Schwarz. I'm not too picky on it. That's just how I've gotten used to saying it, was Weiss Schwarz, because that's my brother took German in high school, and that's how he kind of pronounced it. So I'm like, oh, they're German words. May as well pronounce them the German way, because that's just how I am. But we'll also say Weiss. I'll just say Weiss sometimes. We played some Weiss. I mean, it was fun. The next day, more Project Diva, more Music GunGun. I don't know if I talked about Music GunGun on here. In case I didn't, Music GunGun is an. I don't think I talked about Music GunGun because I think we played Music GunGun later. Music GunGun is a Japanese arcade rhythm game, because they had some Japanese-only arcade rhythm games showed up, like Future Tom Tom, which I didn't play, Groove Coaster, which I'll talk about in a bit. But Music GunGun is a rhythm game that basically has the same kind of interface as Virtua Cop. You're shooting at targets on the screen in time with the music. Even shooting off screen, not to reload, but some of the notes are like shoot off the screen notes, and that was pretty fun. I actually played that quite a bit while I was there. Like I said, I don't remember if I talked about that in the last vlog entry. I might have talked about Music GunGun, but Music GunGun. No, I think I mainly talked about Project Diva and Persona 4 Dancing All Night. There was another Project Diva-esque game there called, I think it was Miracle Girls Festival. Andrew really got into that because there's a lot of anime songs that he likes on there. So I watched him play that, but I didn't play that. But I played Music GunGun. And today I actually got a chance to play Groove Coaster, which is it's quite a thing. another rhythm game, and you have like these two analog stick things with buttons on top, and you basically push the buttons, but you also have to push the analog sticks in different directions, depending, or swivel them around, or hit the buttons really fast. But it's like all on one track and everything. That one was really fun. I wish I could have played it more, but the lines got really long for that, because it seems that whenever Andrew went to a rhythm game in the arcade, because like Music GunGun, from what I understand, was pretty barren at first, and then after he started playing it, it started gathering more crowds and whatnot. Because he got to the point where he started like dual wielding guns, because it's a 2-player game, but there are people who have dual wielded the guns and completed it that way. He did that quite a bit while we were there. But then there was Groove Coaster, which again was pretty empty. When I first started watching Andrew play, I'm like, that I might try that out at some point. And then earlier today, there were lines going to Groove Coaster. Like, son of a bitch! But I did get to play Music GunGun today again. But I only got to play Groove Coaster once. Wish I got to play it more, because that was a really fun game. But that's basically what I got from the arcade and everything. Yesterday, again, not too much going on. We played Project Diva, and I actually started playing Project Diva again on my Vita just so I could unlock a lot of the songs. Because the last time I'd actually played was last year, around MAGFest last year. In fact, was the last time I played Project Diva F2 on my Vita, and I do not have all the songs unlocked, and I need to do that, because there's some songs I really like on there, and I don't have them, so I gotta work on that. But there are also a couple of songs that I'm not very good at, that I've been failing, and I need to get better. But that's just how life is. I didn't buy anything yesterday other than dinner. I actually didn't use my card one time. I brought like $300 with me, and that was able to last me the whole trip. Compared to some of my Otakon jaunts where I've gone with like $500 and then ran out of money like the first day. I think that was like the first Otakon, or the first Otakon, or that one time I went to Katsucon, I brought a bunch of money with like $500, and I wasted it all on the first day on like robots and stuff. But this was able to actually, I picked up the 3 Super Famicom games and those pins. I did pick up some stuff today, and I'll get to that in a bit. But when we got back from dinner last night, we played Cards Against Humanity. And for those of you who don't know what Cards Against Humanity is, you've probably been living under a rock, because everyone knows what Cards Against Humanity is. But in case you don't, you basically have these black cards that will show like a phrase, or like a question, or like a phrase or sentence with blanks in it. And then you have to play white-colored cards with simple phrases or objects or ideas on them to fill in the blanks or answer the question. But all of the answers are incredibly, incredibly offensive, and that's why it's popular with everybody. So you got your racist jokes, you got your sexist jokes, you got your toilet humor, you've got your... Oddly enough, the funniest stuff is just the product placement, but there's also other stuff like just gross stuff. And the thing with Cards Against Humanity, it can be really fun, but I think it's overrated. And the reason I think it's overrated is because it really depends on, switching hands here, how good of the cards that you pull. Because granted, you're going to be in a situation where you don't have cards that will go with it, and like 90% of the time that will happen. And it's very hit and miss. Depending on like how well your run is, it can be very hit and miss. When it hits hard. I think the highlight of yesterday's Cards Against Humanity game was, don't forget, starting this week, Casual Friday is now Shutting the Fuck Up Friday, and that just Phil went onto the ground laughing so hard. But 95% of the time, it's misses. And it's just, wow, none of these answers are even close to being good, or none of this is funny. Or I just wasted something that I could have used later on. And there are a few really good cards that'll always get laughs out of people, like Bees is always a good one. And the product placement one's almost always one. Money can't buy me love, but money can buy me the cold, refreshing taste of Pepsi. Or what is heaven full of the new Nissan Pathfinder with 0.9% APR financing. Those were some ones that had us, well, depending on who you ask. The Nissan Pathfinder one, I didn't, I'm not saying, these are some that I didn't even play. In fact, I was the one in charge of the card that was the shutting the fuck up Fridays, but yeah, I lost the one that where the Nissan Pathfinder was placed, and I'm like, yeah, that definitely wins. But yeah, Cards Against Humanity, I think it's overrated because it's so hit and miss. It really, I mean, like I said, when it hits, it really hits hard, and it's fantastic. But 95% of the time, you're going to be running into stuff that's not funny at all. And I know a lot of of the really geeky people really like it because it's so offensive. I know friends of mine who think it's the greatest thing in the world. I'm not going to buy it, but I'll play it. If it's, if people want to play, I'll play it, but switching hands again, it's not something that I'll really, I don't think it's that big a deal. I've played better card games. After that, it was like 10 o'clock at night. And because today was going to be the last day, a lot of the other guys wanted to, go off. Andrew's plan was actually to stay up all night and maybe get like a few hours of sleep, like enough to be able to drive home. Although he came back to the room at like 2:30 or 3, and he said he was going to get a couple hours of sleep. Then he was going to wake up at 5:30 because he's actually used to waking up at 5:30 because of how his job is. But and then he was going to go back down, and then I heard an alarm go off at 5:30, and nobody moved. He turned the alarm off and went back to bed. And I think that was actually the better course of action because he still seemed a little bit sleepy. I mean, I didn't get too much sleep last night because we had to check out of the hotel room by 11. So we got up about 9. I didn't get to sleep until 3. So that was like the least amount of sleep that I had gotten while we were there. I mean, every other time it was like, went to bed maybe around 3, like 2 or 3, got up around 10:30, so I was fine. But yeah, that's just how how that went. And then today, like I said, I got to play Groove Coaster Music GunGun. I also just to fill in the time before we decided to leave, because we left around 1. The convention ends at like 3:30. I think it's done by now. It's like around 4 o'clock-ish now. I got home less than an hour ago. But yeah, I actually played Jet Force Gemini. I own Jet Force Gemini. Jet Force Gemini is a game I actually have here with my N64. But I was looking around for games to play, and it was like the only one that was open that I was even semi-interested in. So I'm like, I'll play some JFG. I haven't played in like, I don't know, 15 years, but it is really a great game. I'm actually thinking of going through and maybe playing it for Squeeze the World at some point. I'll put it on the list. But I did get to buy some things today. Just a couple not so big deal things. The first of these is a Super Famicom controller. I mainly got this because it was the only thing there. This is $20, as you can see. $20 isn't that bad. I actually was made a comment on Facebook about how people were selling used SNES controllers for $15. And I thought that was kind of a rip-off price, but apparently that's like the norm for Super Nintendo controllers, believe it or not. And I would have liked to get one for cheaper, but the Super Famicom controller was like the only thing that they had. There was like another one that had a monkey sticker on it. And I didn't want the monkey sticker. That was $20, and the buttons feel all right. And Phil said, $20 is not a bad price for, a Super Famicom controller at the very least. But I would have preferred to have like a regular one if I could get it cheaper, but that was all they had. But, I figured I had gotten all of these, frickin' fighting games. I still got them over here. Dragon Ball Z Hyper Dimension and Gundam Wing Endless Duel and Godzilla Kaiju Daikessen, and they're all 2D fighting games. And I figure, if I'm going to play them with a friend, I would need a second controller, because even though I don't have an SNES or Super Famicom, I have a Superboy. If you plug in with the AV out, you have to use one of the controller ports in order to be able to control it. and I only have one controller, so I would have to, use a second controller in order to, if my friends wanted to play. So, but I got some. I also got a little Deadpool button thing. Speaking of buttons and pins, I actually had a casualty yesterday, potentially two. I had found out going between, because yesterday I didn't play Groove Coaster, but I watched Andrew play a bit. But between Groove Coaster and going back to the console room for Project Diva, I found out that because I had a few pins that I gotten from Pokemon trading card game promotional pack things, and one of them was a Team Aqua symbol. Because I had, well, I do still have, I have a shiny Mega Rayquaza pin on there. I have a Mega Mewtwo Y pin on there. I had a Team Aqua pin on there, and also a feline from Monster Hunter. And those pins don't have any kind of like proper clasp on the back. They just kind of have this metal stopper that goes on and holds on from friction. And some of the Pokemon pins, I mean the Monster Hunter pins have been fine, because I have another feline pin that I had on there for a while but took it off because I had too many pins of all the same kind of thing. Because I had most of these were Pokemon pins. I have a Team Magma pin that I don't have on there anymore, a Mega Tyranitar, and I had another feline pin, which I had gotten with the collector's edition of Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Because even though I got the 3DS, the Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate 3DS, new 3DS when that came out, I got that in the mail. I still pre-ordered the collector's edition of the actual game because I still wanted the stuff that came with that. So I basically just picked up the collector's edition of the game and traded the game in. And so I just got a bunch of stuff like a lanyard and the screen wipe cloth that I use at work, and the treasure box I use at work too. And I did get the technically, because I did pre-order the game, I still got the other feline pin. But I did have both feline pins on there for a while, and I just kept the one that is in the standard armor because it was more recognizable. But the Team Aqua pin, because of the rubber stoppers, especially on the Pokemon pins, come off a lot of times will come off like nobody's business, and I've lost one of the backings to, because I have two Team Magma pins, because they came in special packs for the special mini expansion thing. I actually got 3 of those like blister packs, so I have 2 Team Magma pins, one of which is actually stuck into my cubicle wall at work, because it's a pin and it can just stay like that. And then I lost the rubber stopper to the Team Magma one that I had on my bag. So I actually used the stopper from the Team Magma pin that I have at work for that, and now that's just put away in my Dragon Quest Heroes chest because I'm not using it right now. But yeah, they come off fairly easily, and that's what happened to the Team Aqua pin. It got caught on somebody or something, because with the way that the arcade room was set up, there were people waiting in lines to play all the rhythm games. And there were, games behind us, so people were playing on those, and there was, no room for people to, walk between. And a lot of times at conventions, you're going to be rubbing up against people, or, my bag rubbed up against a lot of people, trying to get from point A to point B, because they're all either going perpendicularly from you, or coming the other way. And there's no possible way to get to traffic to get to the place you want unless you go against the flow. And it's not as bad as MAGFest as it is at Otakon, especially in the dealer's room. It's horrendous at Otakon. The last time I went to Otakon was 2 years ago. I used to go every year, but then 2 years ago really sucked, so I didn't go last year. I'm not going this year either. But as far as Otakon goes, the dealer's room is terrible. Because not only do you have everyone coming the opposite way from you, or everyone going perpendicular to you, you have a lot of stop gaps in there because of people in costumes posing for people who just want to spontaneously take pictures of them, and you have to leave 2 or 3 feet in between, so that's less room for people to walk in. And I don't have a problem with cosplayers at all. Cosplaying is something that takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of dedication, And the costumes that are good are really, really good. I don't take pictures of them personally. I don't like to get in people's way. I'll just, comment and sometimes and say, hey, great costume or something like that. But I don't take pictures because I don't want to get in people's way because I would be contributing to that problem. And it's cool if you take cosplay pictures. I know of a lot of people who do that. There are some people who do it professionally. But it's kind of a double-edged sword. Cosplay is really cool, and I do like a lot of stuff that comes out of it. Especially if they're really, really good costumes. But at the same time, you got a lot of people who want to take pictures of them, but are in high-traffic areas. And, if you don't take the chance to take a picture of them, you're never going to see them again. Unless they're, like, a predominant costume that stands out. I know I've seen people in the same costume. I'll see them like 2 or 3 times during the convention. But at the same time, it's just a thing where you really can't be doing that in high traffic areas like that. So I tend to not do that. There isn't a lot of that at MAGFest, at least in the dealer's room or anything like that. It moves along pretty well, but I guess the Team Magma pin or Team Aqua pin got caught on somebody and was lost in the ether, and I'm never going to see it again. I pretty much gave up hope because it's somewhere between the Project Diva table and the Groove Coaster machine, 2-3 warehouse rooms away. Not exactly sure what path I took to retrace my steps. And who even knows if it's there anymore. And I also lost, remember that Izanagi pin I showed off? When after I got it? I almost lost that. When we had gone back from the project, get back to Groove Coaster, I basically, did a double check on all my pins, and I noticed that the Izanagi one was a little loose, and the metal clasp was missing. Now, the ones that I had, the pins that I had gotten, that I had bought, the Mega Man ones and the Persona ones, actually had proper metal clasps on the back that can hold on. I'm like, and the metal clasp was missing. And I'm like, son of a bitch, how did that happen? Because those are like proper things that'll hold on. So I basically, but I mean, I still had the pin, so that was salvaged partially. I mean, at least I could still have the pin. But I ended up, when I got back to the hotel room, I ended up taking off the Mega Man pin using the clasp for that, because I'd rather have, because I had the E-Tank, I like the E-Tank a little bit more than the actual jumping Mega Man sprite. And I'd rather have the Izanagi on there rather than the Mega Man sprite. So I basically put the Mega Man sprite off to the side, and I put Izanagi on there with the Mega Man clasp. So that was able to hold on there. And as it turns out, the metal clasp never actually went on there or something like that, because we found it, I don't know if it was the next day. No, it was a little later on, because we didn't see it today. It was a little later on in the day we actually saw it just laying on the floor. It was after we got back. It was after I got back to the hotel room right before we went out to dinner. We found it on the floor next to my stuff. So I have all of those pins that I bought still on the bag. It was just kind of a thing of, I just kind of forgot, because I even remember when I had to open I had to open it one time, and my hand had brushed against the stoppers and stuff when I was reaching down to get out something out of my bag. I remember it scratching me, and I thought it was just, the kind of the metal tabs on there might be scratching me. But it actually turns out that was the pin, because it didn't have the clasp on there. But I almost lost my Izanagi pin, and that would have made me very, very cross, because I spent the pin packs, the 2 pins, $6 for those, for each pack. So I practically paid $3 for that Izanagi pin. And I really like it, and I was not going to lose it. That would have made me really mad. Luckily, I didn't, so that crisis was averted. But I ended up getting like a little mini Deadpool button. It was $1. I don't know if I would normally pay $1 for that, but these were, fan-made, handmade things, so the work went into it. So that means I was able to finally figure out something to do with that little piece of itchy and scratchy money that came on my badge, as I called it. I don't know if I'm fairly sure I talked about that. But it was just like $1 worth of token or whatever, because normally you get the M point. They were called M points, but little token things, and you would normally get those for participating in like tournaments or events, and you could basically get them as prizes. But everyone got a free one on their badge, and I finally got to use that on a mini fan-made Deadpool button. So I have that on there as well, and that's kind of nice. And look at me go. Look at me go. I'm talking for almost a half hour now. Well, I did have to cover 2 days worth of stuff, and I did go into a little bit more detail on things. But, yeah. So that was MAGFest. Had a really good time. Didn't get to see Ninja Sex Party, but that's okay. I think I did see one internet celebrity walking around, but it was no one I really followed or anything like that. I don't even remember his name. But I saw him walking around, and I'm like, oh, that's that guy from that thing that I watched that one time. Hey. But at the very least, I didn't go through a situation where I saw a celebrity that I really did like, an internet celebrity, an internet personality I really did like, and didn't talk to them. So it wasn't just the nerves getting to me, it was that I didn't see anybody that I wanted to talk to. But yeah, we left around 1-ish, so I got home about a little after 3:15. And, yeah, now I'm probably going to order a pizza, because I haven't had pizza in a while, and I really want pizza. And, you know, I'm just going to take it easy for the rest of the day. Tomorrow, I'm going to start recording more LEGO Avengers videos. Look forward to that. But, there'll probably be more Fatal Frame up sometime later this week. I don't know if I'm going to be seeing Greg, because I have the next couple days off as well to help recuperate and stuff. But I don't know if I'm going to be hanging out with Greg at either tomorrow or Tuesday. But we've basically planned out that Thursday nights after I get off of work, I'm going to go straight to his house and we'll record stuff. And so, at the very least on Thursday, expect to see more Fatal Frame 2. But LEGO Avengers will definitely be a thing that'll come up. They'll be coming around tomorrow. So I'll record the next level, which should be a few more. It should be a few more parts. But basically, the first Avengers 1 level. We'll look forward to that. Until then, I've been RadoGoji, and I'll be here next time. Join me, won't you?